there you will see that committees will be able to perform very well. Honorable Speaker, we were all here, we know. How can you take somebody to be chairing 2 committees or more than that? There will be no effectiveness. No effectiveness. One should chair a committee as a chairperson, one. But you should not be a chair of 2 committees. It's going to be conflict of interest. Sometimes even among ourselves, when you are in different committees, you look at which committee suits you. You go to that committee. And a chairperson is very, very important in a committee. So you have to look at that, Honorable Speaker. That is very, very essential. And Honorable Speaker, the other speakers have mentioned, Honorable Member, Honorable Kasama, was in, and he's also an educationalist. He has been in education for years. For him to be in that committee is very, 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 very important. Honorable Speaker, bring him back to education. Bring him back. Yes, let him come back. We were there before. We know what is there. So we want to continue the good work with him there. You know, the institutional memory is very, very important, Honorable Speaker. Even the Honorable Member for Central Baribu was in monitoring, but he is moved. He should also come back to monitoring. He knows there. He knows there. I'm addressing everybody. I'm also addressing the Speaker. Yes, I'm in that committee, I know. Yeah, but the institutional memory is there. So he should come. So, Honorable Speaker, these are some of the observations that I look at it. But this committee is very, very important. As I started saying, it is the heart of the National Assembly. When the committees fail, people will start pointing fingers at us. They will say that these committees, they are favoring each other. So let us see Gambia. Let us not see anybody. Let us see Gambia forward if we want to enjoy our sitting in this parliament. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Sami. As Chairman of the Select Committee on the Committee on Selection, if you go to Section 56 of the Standing Orders, it is stated that the Select Committee may select, appoint members to be chairman of committees. It's not more or less authoritarian or imposition. It is there in the Standing Orders. Thank you, Honorable Member. We now have the Honorable Member for Janjambure.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the floor. But then may I please observe with the desk table to actually do the rightful selections on members as to who is to speak, because we have been seeing speakers been given the floor for 2 or 3 occasions when some of us have been here raising our hands without due recognition. Moving forward, I heard one of my colleagues actually saying the selection committee was consultative. I want to bring it before records that I don't think the committee selections were really consultative, because if you look at the composition of the committees, you will come to realize that the independent candidates or the independent representatives are not really represented in the respective committees, and I will urge this August Assembly to actually observe that. Also, I have observed with the structures of the committees that Looking at number 20, selection of committees on tourism, arts, culture, youth, and sports, I don't think the young people are well represented in this committee. And I would like to take a reference from a colleague, that is Honorable Mutlamin Ba. I have been with him at the National Youth Council as council members, and I think it will be really fair to have the likes of him being represented in the youth committee. Because what we believe here is anything for the youth without the youth is not really serving the interest of the young people. So I would like to urge this August Assembly to actually consider as to how that committee is being constituted. Also, it involves the tourism committee. I don't actually know what experience the chairperson of the tourism committee has when it comes to tourism development in this country, but I think in selecting the chairperson for some of these committees, it will be important to allow us to sit back amongst ourselves to do justice by selecting the right person to represent us. Going further to the committees, that is for international representations, I would also think the independent candidates represented here are not well represented in those committees. And I would like to observe with this August Assembly to actually look into that and give due considerations as to who should actually represent in what committee. Also, I have observed that with the committees, the chairperson and the vice chairpersons for number 1 to 13 are actually identified. But from 14 going to the last number is not really identified. So I don't know if that was deliberately ignored or it was just meant to leave it as it is for the committee members to decide amongst themselves. So basically, these are some of the things I definitely want to bring across, and I want to take my seat, Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Janjambure. We now have the Honorable Member for Sabak Sanjal.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I just have some few observations with regards to the list of membership and with regard to the selection committee. First, most of the groups that are most of these international groups are chaired by the re-elected members. I don't know if it is based on, as some of the members here rightly said, based on experience or whatsoever, but I think we were all scrutinized at our constituency level, and I believe that any member who comes here is fit enough to become a chair of these groups. So, and I have not seen any new elected member chairing any of these groups. Secondly, there was no consultation, as the independent candidate for Janjambure rightly said. There was no consultation done at our own level as independent candidates, and I expect that the committee would refer, would ask the majority leader to consider us, the independent candidates, by having a representation in this committee. I can fully remember the Honorable Member for Badibu Central was one of the members of this monitoring committee, although I was not in the parliament by then, but I was working with Gamex, which is a consultant company here in the country, and I can remember seeing him and Honorable Samba Jallo coming to see the progress of work. I could fully remember him asking us very tough questions, which definitely motivated us as the consultant and also motivated the contractor to do the right thing at a time. So I don't see no reason why he should be removed from that committee, because his work was seen to be very effective at my own level when I saw him there asking us those questions. So based on that experience that I had with him, I fully believe that he should be included in that committee once more. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Sabak Sanjal. We have the Honorable Member for Fonyi Bintang.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the platform. I have made an observation that the selection committee have definitely done a great job, and they need to be commended for it. We're looking at it in this dimension. That is, the selection committee have fitted themselves well. The selection committee have fitted themselves well by looking at list of international parliamentary delegates and membership. I don't know it was based on what, but then they are all into this international organization. I think something is special about it. Honorable Salif Jao fitted into Pan-African Parliament, who is a member of the selection committee. Honorable Abdullah Sise also fitted into the ACPU Joint Parliament Assembly. And Honorable Madi MKC is the same parliament. You look at Billy G. Tunkara, also fitted into ECOWAS Parliament. Alaji S. Dabo fitted into ECOWAS Parliament. They have fitted themselves well. I think I am alerted that something is special. I am new to the parliament, but I think something is special in these parliaments. Looking at it, I think here, when we are talking about national interest, and these parliaments are very sensitive, very, very sensitive, because it is about the spirit that you have towards Pan-Africanism and its concept. How far have you been defending Africa? What have you done for Africa? I think this one is spirit that is in you, that you're going to actually demonstrate in that parliament and also actualize in the real sense, to work in the best interest of Africa. I also second the opinion that Honorable Yaya Gazama should also be part of the education committee, because according to my observation, there is nobody that is more educationist in this assembly than Honorable Yaya Gazama. He has been an education, and education committee is definitely a business committee. Business in the sense that the tragedy in the Phonis is definitely unacceptable. So we need the education committee to start working of effect to regulate those issues as of now. So the selection committee per se should go back to the drawing board and fit themselves outside this, according to my observation, and fit themselves into other committees than fitting themselves into the international delegates. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Fonyi Bintang. We have Honorable Member for Fonyi Kansala.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Thank you, the Honorable Speaker. A document that is presented to us here as a guide, it will only be in effect if we all agree and scrutinize it to make sure it is tabled properly as per the various committees that are set before us. I thank the clerk and the team and the committee of selection for a great job that they did. About 58 National Assembly members, their profiles are taken, then they look at each of the areas that they think they will be able to fit in. I thank them for the job well done. No proper selection will meet so far the status is concerned, but we are here to scrutinize, agree and disagree, make sure we do for the best interest of this nation and the country at large. So I believe so. We are all here as colleagues. It is not a witch hunt if various committees or names that we ponder in we see other way around. Let's take it as the best practice for us to make sure we achieve and also prosperity will judge us as National Assembly members. I have some observations in key areas. One, Selection of committees, education and training in ICT, that is 16. I've been in this field for quite a while. I know the chairman that is selected. We will work together, and I believe so. A name also is purportedly mentioned. We've also met in some training areas that we think we could work together to make sure we change the narrative of this country so far education is concerned. I believe so. It will also perform well in the deliberation so far my constituency and my region is concerned in Fonyi. I can even guess now that 3 weeks ago, some schools were not even going to school. Schools were closed based on the tragedy that happened between the border. And I believe so. Last week also, the permanent secretary and the regional directorate also went to Fonyi Councillor in the school of Kappa to discuss on the modalities of the teachers that are struck. They had strike to make sure that their rich allowance would be increased. But alhamdulillah, a discussion has been made. They reached into consensus. And from here or tomorrow, I will go there to see how best I can see with them so that we see it moving. Because most of their practical works for Gabege is not even marked based on the strike that has occurred. So I believe so this educational selection committee will do better to make sure we iron out some of the issues that are affecting the region, more so Fonyi. Since 2017 till date, the decline of educational status quo in both junior and secondary has declined based on some of the effect that my people have faced for the past 5 years, 4 months. In the other area also about defense, generally I've also got some security background, and as per the selection that is made by the selection committee, they've made their findings and they concluded. But we are here as a team. We are here as a voice. We are here as the brotherhood family to make sure we scrutinize the best interests of this nation. As we enter into this parliament, it's not about the color, but it's about that Gambia, that country, that security that we think will be able to change the status quo as we move on. I believe so. Based on the list that I've given comprehensively, we have somebody who can also be represented. I cannot even say better, but could also perform better, and the rest could also follow. Competency doesn't matter. Sometimes you can see somebody in a particular area, and you said he's not competent in that area, but may do better based on some status. But I believe so. Kante could serve as a lead role chairperson in this committee. Then the rest also will follow to wipe the tears of my people of Fonyi. Arunajata was murdered, no cause. Ismail Atamba shot. Kamfenda incidents, children are brutalized. My people are deprived of farming their agricultural farms based on the nature of the status quo of this country. So these are all a hell lot of issues that I think the Security and the Defense Committee should stand upright to see that Gambia, not also a single art region. We have a committee that has stationed in Fonyi. Thousands of lives, thousands of properties have been destroyed. So these are all areas that I think we could work harness to make sure we see an effective change, provided we have a leader who will be able to change the narrative of the cause for this important committee. And the other observation that I've also made is in areas of chairpersons, honesty is the key of every society or a club or an organization. If you know you are given a chance to be a chairperson of a particular select committee, decline yourself in the second select committee, give chance to others. Because we all know this parliamentary committees is not an easy task. You could use one, be in one, and also decline in the others for honesty and also effectiveness in performing your role. So I advise my fellow parliamentarians, if you're one of those, please decline and give chance to others. The other area also is we are divided into various committees. As per your expertise or your area of specialization, you know yourself. If, for example, you are in a committee that you cannot perform better, seek the indulgence of the committee or announce to the parliament, then they can also befit you in a particular committee for the best interest of those committees as we all move on. Then the other area that I've also had an eyebrow raised in it, that is the international delegation. We believe so. We are, as independent candidates, we never consulted. And I believe so. My honorable colleague just have mentioned. The reason why people grab international delegation is for a purpose, or they have something that they think they will be able to. As we alluded here, as you come new, you also have that mandate, the wider scope for you to be able to analyze and think ahead or make your own research. So I believe so. If you look at all sectors of those selection committees for international delegations, we are misrepresented and we are not considered. As selections of committees, they have befitted themselves into various of those committees and ignore others. If you want to see a fair and a balanced parliament, I think we should consider that and see us together and we move as a team for the best interest of this country. So when that is not done, we will take ourselves to another level of ourselves. So I want the committee to look into it very carefully and also advise, in the best interest of the entire globe. I've also looked at the area, the friendship, parliamentarian friendship group. Looking at my background, I am a CCLA trainer, and also I have a good background in Arabic. I am not lobbying also, but I believe so. It could be better if I'm also considered in the Saudi Arabia, that we have a lot of things in common, that we have also been working with a lot of donors that are impacting the life of the society, especially the Muslim community and the society at large. So I believe so, consideration should be done in that particular regard. Then the last part is area of agriculture. I know there are seasonal agriculturists in that particular area, but I'm putting to this parliament and also putting to the committee that my own people in Kansala have been deprived of their lands of farming because of this occupancy of the Senegalese forces. So I submit to this August Assembly that something needs to be done immediately. By June, July, we will start farming in those furrows, irrespective of what.
Honorable member, remember we are not on an adjournment debate. Please be specific on the issues and observations on the agenda item, please.
Thank you. I'll take my seat. Thank you.
Thank you, honorable member for Fonyi Kansala. We now have the honorable member for Lower Salon.
Yes, thank you, honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. May I also observe defense and security. Honorable Speaker, yes, we are here as representing a member of National Assembly, not a party caller, or labeling somebody as a threat. Honorable Speaker, the then Parliament, the chairman of that defense and security, it was the Deputy Speaker. The vice was Honorable Ali Fasali, member for Serekunda, which was holding a political party. But then they deliver well because they have seen only Gambia. Honorable Speaker, let's see Gambia first. Honorable Speaker, giving somebody a position, in fact, giving somebody a leader, sitting being a chair, you as a member, you can scrutinize the chairman that what you are doing is not the right thing. Honorable Speaker, for instance, the last Parliament, Honorable Suleiman Sow was our chairman of monitoring. And then we work together. But sometimes we the members, in fact, we hammer our chairman very well. You being the member, sitting down, you can hammer the chair because we are seeing Gambia. We want to work hand in glove to see Gambia, nothing more. Honorable Speaker, let's leave everything at the door of that Parliament. Here we are representing the people of our nation. Period. But I line somebody mark. Is a threat? No. In fact, this Parliament, we need to be emphasize decorum, Honorable Speaker. If you have differences, leave it down there. Gambia first. I see. Honorable Speaker, and again, I have issues to raise because the composition of these committees, as you said, is party representative and experience and so on and so on. If you have seen the previous parliament, there are various chairmen who are composed in various committees. I will take a good example. Monitoring, and I guess the member for Upper Badibu, no, Central Badibu, he was a good tool, definitely, and because he was working hand in glove and with the members, and again, as what Sabak Sanya says, we are here to represent our people, not the party. And he manifests, the honorable member for Badibu, he manifests very well that he is representing Gambian people. In fact, sometimes we have differences, that there is no road given to Salakins and others. But anything comes to the national interest, he support it. It's what we are all yearning for, because this Gambia belongs to everybody. You cannot single-handed give it to anybody else. No, who can do the work? In fact, you can have experience in a particular various committees. You cannot deliver well. You cannot. Honorable Speaker, based on I don't know, maybe, but Honorable Speaker, I want to decline in some committees which I am yes, substitute very well, like health committee. Honorable Speaker,
can you please quote the number?
Number 15, huh? Yes.
15.
Yes. I have discussed with the deputy majority leader, and I want to propose Honorable Abdullah Sise. Maybe he has experience. I don't know, but I cannot go in a place whereby before grabbing the how to call it, the experience, it will take me time to deliver. You understand? Then I will swap honorable member for all Yunduma. Yes. And then I'll be going to monitoring. So I don't know whether you are satisfied with it or not. We'll discuss with it.
Honorable member, are you saying that the committee on health,
very well,
you want to come out of it, yes, and that you want to move to?
I propose honorable member, deputy majority leader to that committee. Yes.
That committee?
Yes.
And you go to where he's coming from?
Monitoring, very well.
That's what you are proposing?
Yes, I propose it to him, and we are in a census.
We are in agreement.
Yes, Honorable Speaker, in a serious note, Honorable Speaker, I don't have much to say on this. Again, there is a delegation here. This Gambia Venezuela Friendship Group, Honorable Seni Jawara is still there. If anybody is not captured in these delegations, I can easily decline and give chance to others to because as far as I am in ACP EU Parliament, yes. If others are not part of any delegations, then they can squeeze in on this how to call it, this Gambia Venezuela Friendship Group. On that note, Honorable Speaker, I take my seat. Huh?
Honorable member, let's remind ourselves, we have select standing committees, we have select committees, we have a list of parliamentary groups, and we also have friendship associations. These are 4 different categories of membership. And what I understand, for your information, is that we do as much as possible to make sure in each of the friendship organizations, at least every member is a member of at least one, before you can have 2. Honorable member for Lower Salem. We now have the honorable member for Joshua constituency.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the floor. I first of all thank the Standing Committee on selection of members to this committee. Thank you very much for a job well done. I have few things to observe and then want to suggest, if possible. Like some of my members have rightly mentioned with regards to the chairman of committees. I'm suggesting that if possible, we can allow the members to sit among themselves and decide who to chair the committees. If that is acceptable, we can sit together and decide among ourselves. But also talking about chairman of committees also, I think also it's very important here for us to note one thing. We are working as a team and we are working as a group. If committee comes up together as a committee, yes, the chairman is there to lead in our delivery. At the end of the day, he's not the only one to decide. We decide as a group. So based on our experience that we have together, when we put them together, we're there to help the chairman to move ahead with his work, because he's not deciding on his own. He decided based on what we have already decided together, because he's just there to lead us and then deliver on our behalf. So he's just our captain as a team, but doesn't mean that he's playing the whole game. We all move in the game together. So I think we have to look at things properly. Yes, I'm hearing suggestions that we have experienced people within the group. I didn't mean that they were not part of the team. It would have been difficult, but they are part of the team. So let's look at it properly. If at all, we feel that those chairmen are being selected based on experience, per se, for me it's welcoming. And the other thing also, we always talk about experience. Talking about the last legislature that was here, some of the members were experienced on what they were given to. They were given those responsibilities they were assigned in certain committees. But that doesn't mean that they were experienced. But they came to learn through. And learning through gave them the experience. That's why they are talking here today. So the new ones also are also experienced. Some were leading, some were heading associations, some were heading companies, some were heading organizations. And then they have those experience. So putting those experience together, it will definitely help. So let's always look at the new ones as people who are experienced. Let's see the new ones as people who can do it. And let's see the new ones as people who can deliver. Yes, they are elected. Why were they elected? It has a reason. Because they gave it back to their people. Yes, they came back here for a reason. So we are also elected for a reason also. So being elected for a reason means something. So the experience there is also important. So please, I'm suggesting to my members to say, let's not see the new ones are not people that are not experienced or the people who don't know what they are doing. They have the experience, they can do it, and they can deliver as the elected one. Maybe if not all, but we can even do better than the elected one. Sorry to use that word. So please, let's see ourselves as one family. We work together as a family, and then look at the committees as a teamwork committee, not as an individual committee where the head they have to decide. He's not going to decide on our own. He's there to decide as a group, and then bring it back to report on behalf of the group. And when he is reporting, we have the right to observe. So please, let's see this chairman, if possible, go back to the drawing board, sit together as committees, and then come up with ideas. I think this is few of the things that I need to observe and then suggest to the committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Joshua. We now have the Honorable Member, nominated member, Keba Lang Kamara. Keba Lang Fofana, rather. Honorable nominated member, Keba Lang Fofana.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I think I would start by commending the selection committee for a job well done. It was not an easy task, putting into consideration that, we have certain elements with regards to representation where the numbers were few. For example, when we talk about gender, we have only 5 female. And then at the end of the day, it was the responsibility of the selection committee to put all of these bits and pieces together and come up with a very, very formidable force. Mr. Speaker, I've listened very well. And during the intervention of members, I think 3 main points were highlighted. The first one was about representation, basically coming from the side of the independent candidates. And I think this August Assembly must have a keen listening ear. And this August Assembly also, having an oversight responsibility outside, should make one focal point as its responsibility, which should be self-assessment. Now, if members say they are not represented, we should ask ourselves, what are the underlying principles? I think whatever was done by the selection committee was either guided by the Constitution or by the standard. What I want to do is refer this August Assembly to Standing Order 111, which is on the Committee of Selections, and then I would correlate this to what is obtained on the report of the Selection Committee. Standing Order 111, paragraph 1 states that the Committee of Selection shall consist of the Speaker as chairperson and 5 members of the Assembly, of whom 3 shall be nominated by the majority leader and 2 by the minority leader. Mr. Speaker, if we go to the committee, the report of the Committee of Selections on the nomination of members, and turn to page 2, you'll have the members of the committee. And the members of this committee, number 1 is the Honorable Speaker, which correlates as to what is provided in the standing order. Number 2 is Honorable Bileji Tunkara from NPP. Number 3 is Alaji S. Dabo from UDP. Number 4 is Abdullah Sise from NPP. Number 5 is Honorable Salifu Jao from NPP. And number 6 is Honorable Madi K. Sise from UDP. Sorry about that. Which means that the Committee of Selections was formed in accordance with the Standing Committee. So now...
Point of order, please.
Order, yes. Okay.
Point of order.
Speaker. All right. May we hear the point of order quoting the relevant section of the standing orders?
Okay. On the Standing Order 111, as he referred to, we are not saying that we are supposed to be represented at that committee, but what we are emphasizing here is the Committee of Selection shall consist of the Speaker as chairperson and 5 members of the Assembly, of whom 3 shall be nominated by the majority leader and 2 by minority leader in consultation with their respective groups. We were not consulted. This is what we are saying.
Honorable member,
thank you.
That is not a point of order. It's probably a point of observation or information. And we are dealing with a point of order, please.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Member for Sabasanya.
Yes.
Can the nominated member continue?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And thank you very much, Member for Sabasanjal. And that's exactly where I was coming. If at all the composition of the selection committee was done in accordance with the dictates of the standing order. Now we move on to how it was executed. That brings the question, where does the independent candidates fit? Which is a very, very important question. Where do they fit? Do they fit with the majority or do they fit with the minority? And this is an important question which we will allow the entire assembly to digest on. So which means on the issue of representation, if at all there is any, on the issue of representation, if at all there is anything that we need to improve on, should be consultation among ourselves, involving the independent candidates in whatever we are doing altogether. And how that needs to go about, I wouldn't deliberate further. I think both the majority leader and the minority leader are better placed to continue forth with that endeavor. And the other issue that was much deliberated on was the issue of the ECOWAS Parliament. Because the Honorable Member for Banjul South did make a quotation or refer to the constitution of the ECOWAS Parliament. And again, the Honorable Member for Combo South as well did the same thing. All of them referred to the same relevant section of the ECOWAS Parliament. But having listened keenly, what they would say consistently is, on the issue of disqualifications to the ECOWAS Parliament, they'll be like, a member could only be disqualified if at all he or she is not what? Elected. But these elections are on two layers, which needs to be clarified. Is it election at the constituency level, or is it election at the assembly level? This needs to be clarified. Of course, I'm not in for A or for B or to say the composition have to change. No, but as far as you are making deliberations at the National Assembly here, you should not leave any rooms for ambiguity. Whatever we say have to be crystal clear, so that at the end of the day, the members can be what? Better guided. And again, I think I would like to align myself, Mr. Speaker, with my honorable brother from Fonyi Councillor. The all members knows where it's good. But we shouldn't make that definition. If we make that, we might be wrong. We are supposed to be a united house. We are supposed to be a formidable force. When we walk inside this room, let us put our party colors outside. It starts today. Because by virtue of being a member, or by virtue of forming this what committees, be it in the standing committees or in the select committees, now the 6th legislature, it is assuming its what? Powers. The oversight powers and the legislative powers, as well as the representative powers. One thing is important: membership to those committees. The select committee said they have looked at the background of all members. That's so. And by background, we mean their academic background and work experience. So which means whatever is obtained in this list should be definitely good and a viable tool for this assembly as far as the select committee is concerned. Because myself, I've gone the extra mile and I've tried to put on party tax on individual members. And when you put on party tax on individual members, you will realize that all the parties are equally represented. You will find the NPPs there, you will find the UDPs there, you will find the independent candidates there. Of course. No, Honorable Speaker, a point of observation I would like to proceed. Okay? What I'm saying is, you will find the parties equally represented. Equally represented. Of course, in some instances, you will find some overlaps. Myself, I have certain expertise in certain committees where I did not find myself. But I believe like I'm already overloaded. Unless and until you have other motives. Unless and until you have other motives. But if at all your motive is to serve, then efficiency should be underscored. Mr. Speaker, I want to continue.
Observation, please. Observation, please.
Can the honorable nominated member continue, please?
Thank